Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is an answering questions episode, and let's actually get right to it, shall we? Cam from Duluth High, and I guess wherever this is, and says, "Hey, it's your buddy Cam. My question is, what do you want to research in vertebrate paleontology? Do you want to study all Mesozoic fossils or focus on one geological period of the Mesozoic? Also, what advice could you give to both others who want to be a paleontologist and geologist like myself? Hope your day is awesome." Well, thank you there, Cam. I appreciate that. Let's actually start out with the question of what do I really want to research in vertebrate paleontology? Well, what I like to do and what I would like to research in vertebrate paleontology is basically this. I like to now I want to research dinosaurs, basically from North America, but basically I want to explore all periods of the Mesozoic, basically, and also another type of vertebrates that I'm very interested in is basically birds. Basically like birds of probably like say the Cenozoic, and probably some birds in the Mesozoic as well. And because basically I like to be more into the terrestrial animal type of environments, basically. Because you see that would be my main research, basically, and I also like to research North American theropods. That'll be my main research to look at. And basically, I like to actually look at all the periods in the Mesozoic. So basically, all fossils from the Mesozoic. So I don't really actually have a preference of which period I actually like to go into. You see, because usually I tend to be pretty biased on the Cretaceous, just because that's where Tyrannosaurs are actually are in, basically. But I actually kind of have a love for the Triassic, though, too, because you see, that's where dinosaurs actually kind of started. And so that's where I like to find out how much more evolution, how much dinosaurs have actually evolved in the Triassic before they actually got their rise in the Jurassic. That's what I like to find out. It's like how much did they really evolve? Did they evolve a great deal, or did they actually evolve very little? But then when they actually got towards the Jurassic, or otherwise got into the Jurassic, they evolved really quick, and that's what I like to find out as well. And the advice that I actually give for people that actually want to become a paleontologist or geologist, is basically this. First off, for what you want to do in terms of the specific field of geology that you really want to go in, and that's really what you want to focus on, is that are you interested in minerals? Are you interested in volcanism? Are you interested in plate tectonics? Are you interested in petrology, basically studying minerals in the rocks? Hydrogeology, basically geology involving water. You want to be a marine geologist? Basically, look at the basalts in the oceanic crust. Or do you want to be, like, say, a structural geologist, where you actually look at the structures in the rocks, like folds and faults and all that sorts of stuff? Butinage. A geophysicist, where you actually study the physics of geology. A geochemist, the chemistry of geology. Paleontology, of course. It really depends on what you really want to research. Geomorphology is also part of it, though, too, but you're actually going to learn a little bit more about soil than anything else in that class. But even though you do actually learn things from the rocks in that class as well. But in terms, if you want to get into paleontology, is that not only geology classes are actually a good requirement, but basically you want to actually have some biology requirements as well. And you see, you need to take of course you need to take intro to biology, microbiology, basically anatomy, zoology, that sort of stuff. Zoology would be the most important one, because you see, you need to know like every specific branch of life, because that's what you want to actually look for. And if there's like a certain type of animals that you actually want to actually do a lot more research in, you actually take classes that actually involve some of those life forms. Like, I'm kind of more interested in birds and reptiles, so I would actually be looking into herpetology and ornithology. So those would be basically studying reptiles and birds. Herpetology is reptiles. Ornithology is for birds. And basically, you want to get some experience in the field, though, too. Because you see, go on like regional field trips. Go on regional field trips of basically some places around the country. Because I took a trip to South Dakota and northern Nebraska, and that was actually a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of you could do certain things that you would not be able to actually do when you're actually in like a certain state they actually live in. Because I'm from Wisconsin, basically, because Wisconsin, we don't have a lot of paleontology in Wisconsin. I mean, the only paleontology that we have is basically looking at the rocks from the Cambrian, Ordovician, and the Silurian, and sometimes the Devonian. And basically, we also get into the Pleistocene. That's basically Ice Age animals. And I would actually say that if you actually want if you want to go to a certain place, basically just look up any places that you actually want to go to. Because see, the next states that I actually want to go to is Montana, certain parts of Wyoming, Utah, Colorado. I'd like to go down to Texas, and I'd like to see what Texas has actually got in terms of their paleontology from their fossil record, because that's what I love to actually look into. And another thing is that if you actually want to do paleontology in terms of out of the United States, is basically anybody that is from the U.S. Try to actually do study abroad. Go to a different country to actually find out if there's a certain type of paleontology that you want to actually learn about, like the paleontology, say, of Europe, a certain country in Europe. I'm a little fascinated by Germany. I like to see what Germany's fossils actually are, and even England's. And or otherwise, if you want to, or otherwise maybe Australia. Australia is a new ground to look for dinosaurs. And or otherwise South America, you go to Argentina. Argentina is really well known for dinosaurs. Or even some parts of Africa. But also, another thing about study abroad, it's very expensive. And you see, I chose not to do that. That's because you see, it takes it's basically taking a lot of money out of your pocket. And I don't really want that to happen. And so I'd rather be saving money than actually spending it like crazy. So, because that's what you want to do, And so hopefully that can actually help out a little bit more too. So, and basically, if you actually want to get into a certain school, look at schools that actually have strong geology, paleontology programs. Basically strong geology and biology programs, and that's really what's going to come down to. And that's what I really want to have people know, is that you need to find out which schools that you are really interested in and you want to go to. And so that really actually comes down to that. And also, you got to know the advisors. You got to actually have a relationship with them. Basically communicating to each other, and also your advisors would actually help you out to basically set on the path that you actually want to get into, that you want to go to. And if you want to go, basically you need your bachelor's degree first if you want to, or otherwise, if you're not interested in actually going to a 4-year university really fast, then pretty much go to like a community college, or otherwise a 2-year university, technical college, that sort of thing. Kind of actually get your general studies taken care of, and your associates taken care of, and then you can transfer out to a 4-year university that you actually want to go to, and you get your bachelor's degree there. And if you want to go for your master's, good research to actually to basically know what kind of research that you're interested in. You actually have to tell them what kind of research that you're interested in, what could they do to actually, can ask them what can they do, what can you do to actually help out and all that sorts of stuff. And you will be taking classes though too, because some of these classes will involve basically knowing a lot more in your field, basically. But basically, if you're not really into the math part, then basically paleontology would actually be a good way to go, or otherwise just teaching regular geology, you know, like basically knowing like all the different types of rocks, teaching students and all that. Cause see, that's what I want to do, is I want to teach, and so that's what I'm kind of doing with you guys right now, is teaching you about prehistoric life and also about paleontology and geology and all that sorts of stuff. And that's basically what I am really trying to do, is basically my goal is to have people be satisfied with the information that I'm giving them through my knowledge, and that's what I'm really doing here. But also another way to actually get experience in the field, do an internship like at like a national park, or otherwise, if you're actually going to be into the geology field, you'll probably be an intern like in certain companies that will be asking you to actually do like tests, basically, like and also do geologic maps. And that's one thing with geology, is that you need to learn how to read a geologic map, and that is the one thing you have to learn, is learn how to read a geologic map, and also maps in general, because most maps that you will be using in geology will have contour lines, so that's really going to actually affect how you read like elevation and river flow and all that sorts of stuff. And basically, if you're actually going to, but also another thing about geology and paleontology, I think if you actually are going to be teaching, or otherwise working in a museum, you probably need to actually understand the geology of that certain state, province, all that sorts of stuff, because that really needs to be put into your attention. Is basically, they probably might give you like a test to find out like what the rock formations are in like the certain state, like what is the majority of the rocks in the state, like igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic, all that sorts of stuff. You can see, because what I like to do is I like to work in the Rockies, basically, like say either Colorado or Utah, or otherwise maybe or otherwise maybe I could actually work in South Dakota, or otherwise maybe I can actually work in maybe in New Mexico or something like that, you know. But I prefer Colorado because it's pretty much like you have pretty much paleontology everywhere. You know, basically, you know, you got the Morrison Formation, you actually got the Lance Formation, you got the Western Interior Seaway, limestone and shale, you know, all that sorts of stuff. Because that's what I really want to actually look into. All right, that's it for now. You know, next week will be a special episode. So if you have a dinosaur or any other prehistoric animal that you want me to talk about, feel free to email it to me at dinochris71@gmail.com. Always go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts of Dino Chris. You can actually, you can see links of like dinosaur names and mammal names and all that sorts of stuff that you actually, and you can pick one of the names that one of the animals I haven't talked about yet, and then I can actually talk about that certain animal for you. But also, you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life. Feel free to email me at dinochris71@gmail.com, or otherwise go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions in the comment section on any Facebook post. But remember, keep your questions short and to the point. And also follow me on Twitter at CSGRILL. That's my Twitter page, and I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. That is the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. So with a good education, you get a good job in the future. And I'm hoping to possibly do an extra episode sometime next week as well. I'll let you know what kind of topic I'm pretty interested in talking about. I'm kind of having two choices here: is either the Bone Wars or otherwise controversial things in paleontology. That's what I like to actually want to decide here. Otherwise, you guys can decide for me by choosing either one of those, the Bone Wars or otherwise controversial topics in paleontology, controversies in paleontology, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.